This is a meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee for June 8th, 2023 at 4:30 on the city's Zoom platform. The chair statement is, this meeting is being recorded, and if any persons present are doing so, they must notify the chair at this time. Is anybody else recording the meeting? Broadcasting it? Simulcasting it? All the other? Very good. Okay, attendance is next. So David Singer.
Here.
Butch Hawkins is present. Mayor. Mayor's present. Yes. Hands up. Chief Strahan. I saw him on the call. Chief, are you there?
You signed in, Butch. Camera's
Yeah.
off though.
Yeah, I see that. He was in. Diana? No. Carol Collins?
Here.
Present. Okay. David Mascaratello? No. Steve Draculich? No. Gene Wall?
Here.
Thank you. Amy McMahon?
Here.
Jen's away, and Jim Nguyen.
Here.
All right, non-voting members, Laura Phelps. Marla Warner. George Vandelinder. Fernando.
Here.
Saw you. Chief Haig. Peter MacGyver. I saw Peter.
Present.
And Greg Diefeldorf. Saw Greg.
Here.
And Neil Joyce is present.
Yes.
Roger is present.
Yes.
Trina is present.
Yes.
And Gene Howard is present. I believe I saw Gene. Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval for the prior minutes that Peter mailed out, and that would have been for May 11th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jim, 1 second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. How do you vote? David Singer?
Yes.
Butch, yes. Mayor?
Yes.
Chief?
Yes, and I'm here.
I know you are. Okay, Carol?
Yes.
You? And Jean?
Abstain.
Okay. That's Amy?
Yes.
Okay. And Jim Nguyen?
Yes.
Good. All right. Moving right along. Agenda here would be the budget update, payment submittals, and current budget status. Neil Joyce.
Thank you, Butch. You should have received, I believe, in your packet of information previously, the sheet of invoices that were being submitted for this month. They include progress payments to Box Modular, to CMS for services provided during May. In addition, there's an invoice from DA Sullivan, a rather significant invoice from DA Sullivan for the work that they performed in May as well. Total of invoices presented this month is $1,492,093.32. Along with that, you should have received the budget update. Total project expenditures to date now at $9.18 million, with $12.5 million left in remaining project expenses. I would be happy to take any questions the committee has on current bills or the overall budget at this point in time.
Any questions by anybody? I can't see everybody, so I'd have to say something. Okay. Is there a motion to accept the budget as presented?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Second. Okay, any further discussion? None. Right. How do you vote, David?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes. Mayor,
Yes.
Chief,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
and Amy,
Yes.
and Jim Nguyen.
Yes.
Very good.
Hmm.
Any further up discussion on the status of the budget, how it relates going forward, as it relates to any of the temporary facilities, Neil?
Yep, so a couple things for the committee's information. We are beginning to move forward with commitments on purchases outside of the construction contract. Since our last meeting, we have initiated the purchase of the compressed air bottle filler for the chief, as well as the radio equipment from two different vendors, Motorola and Pittsfield Communication. We are in the process of finalizing the station alerting system, which will be a relatively large purchase, and is an integral part of the technology for the operation of the station. And lastly, we have begun to purchase what I'll call head-end room computer equipment, so switches, routers, servers, wireless access points, etc., from various suppliers. We are purchasing these at this point in time because of extended lead time concerns related to computers and microchip technology. So those purchases are all being provided within the line item budgets that are identified in our budget. So in detail, for furniture and equipment, we had a $400,000 budget. The project share of the bottle filler is roughly $40,000. So we're well within the line item for Firematic equipment within the budget. Radio equipment, we had $100,000 in the budget. The total of the expenditures to Motorola and Pittsfield Communications were just over $41,000. So again, well within budget. And then technology, we had $115,000 in the budget, 115, and the initial purchase for the equipment that we're itemized is just over $38,000. So these are just the first of the expenditures we expect. We will be undoubtedly expending all of the budgets in each of the line items. We will likely be moving money within line items to accommodate for, I don't believe that we'll be spending any more money on radio equipment. So the balance of that line item, roughly $55,000, will probably flow up to furniture and equipment or Firematic equipment and take care of other needs within the budget and within the building. So that'll be an ongoing process. We'll be bringing these forward each month as the commitments are made, and we'll be updating people overall on where we are relative to the budget for each of those.
And the lease,
Yeah, so
payments.
when we went and made the agreement on the temporary fire station, the lease agreement that we signed with Box Modular, as well as with Sunbelt Rentals, was for a 22-month period, which expires in July, I believe, is our last monthly scheduled lease payment for each of those structures. The combined cost of those structures is roughly $40,000 or $41,000 a month. Where we are in the current station, we are anticipating a completion of construction on or about the first of the year. So we will be extending the lease on both the temporary apparatus bays and the temporary offices for the fire station for the additional 6 months that was included in the original purchase agreement from the city. That budget of roughly $250,000 has been accounted for and is already included in a budget transfer that occurred from contingency early on in the project when we knew where we would be time-wise relative to the lease term of the temporary buildings. And then lastly, as we had mentioned to the committee, I think it was 2 months ago or again last month as well, we have run into some supply chain issues on a major piece of electrical equipment inside the station. We are working feverishly to minimize the schedule impact of that missing piece of equipment. As of right now, I think it is not optimistic to think that we can open the station without it or without something in its place temporarily. And again, we're working with both the general contractor and the electrical contractor to stay ahead of that issue and try to minimize any downstream schedule impact to the planned occupancy of the station.
Which we spoke to on Monday, you, me, and David Goodsell from
Yep.
DA Sullivan to impress
Right.
upon him the need to up the pressure to get that equipment. The mayor had a question?
I do, a couple of them. Neil, what was that amount for the radio equipment again that we have now purchased?
Just over $41,000, Mayor.
Oh, okay, okay.
Two different purchase orders. The Motorola equipment and antennas was just shy of 30,000.
Yeah,
And the installation of that equipment through Pittsfield was roughly 12,000.
okay, that's good. So I'm hearing you say, because and I think the chairs are aware of the email request we got today from, Ms. Greenberg from Box Rentals or Box, whatever they call themselves, modulars.
Yep.
So I'm assuming you want me to extend the lease for the 6 months or longer? What are your directions to me to get back to her? Because she wants to know right away.
So right now, Mayor, the date that we have from the electrician for the delivery of the main switch gear is March 1 of next year. And we are trying desperately to improve that date. So that date, that March 1 date, is when we can reasonably expect that it will find its way onto a truck and make its way to us.
Mm,
What that means for occupancy of the building is probably, arrival date plus 60 days, because it is literally the main link between the outside electric service and all of the electrical distribution equipment inside the new station. So it is literally the critical link between outside power and everything downstream of it in the building.
okay.
So we've come across this on other projects. Other electricians have been able to either temporarily source something like through a rental agreement or otherwise expedite delivery so that it has not impacted projects. We're optimistic, but we can make no guarantees. I think I said to the building committee before, I think when we brought this up in April, I said, a lot can happen in 9 months. And I still say a lot can happen in 7 months, right?
Mhm.
We're getting closer. We're putting an increased amount of pressure on the contractor to pull his magic and cash in favors or whatever they need to do to get this equipment into us as soon as humanly possible.
So I guess the answer to my question is we want more than a 6-month lease. We would want a minimum of 9 months.
Mayor, I would say from a commitment standpoint, you would tell them now that we wish to extend or exercise the city's option to extend the lease by 6 months.
Okay,
And we will provide you with additional information later this fall when we have a better idea of anticipated delivery dates.
great.
Is that fair enough?
I think so, given that somebody apparently was speaking for them by July. They'll just have to wait. Have to find more.
Honestly, Mayor, it's surprising to me because we have had communications with both Box and Sunbelt Rentals that
Yeah,
we intended to exercise the 6-month extension in the lease.
yeah, I
through
thought we
December.
had. I thought we'd already talked about this at one time, either
We did.
via an email or on a meeting. So I will get back to her tomorrow. I will CC you folks. And I have one more question unrelated to Box. And that is, I presume when you are purchasing this technology equipment that you say you've purchased, that you have discussed it with Gene or with
They are
Fernando.
actually the
Purchasing.
purchasing entity.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you. And just for your purposes, Butch, I see that David Singer has his hand up.
He does.
And I'm
yes.
done. And I'm
Okay.
done.
Okay, David, yeah.
Thanks. Okay, Neil, so it sounds like it's a good idea to give formal notice for the 6 months to December, but what rights do we have after that? So if we wait, maybe I'll put it another way. What in our lease agreement allows us to extend with short notice if we're stuck in December?
I would say, David, that they will have difficulty taking them away from us, but they would likely be able to renegotiate the monthly rate if they were so inclined. I would say that may be their leverage.
But there's nothing in our lease agreement that gives us unilateral right to keep extending?
That goes beyond the 6 months. I don't believe so.
So timing wise, do you think now, while things aren't desperate, we might want to ask for an extension, a unilateral right to extend? What would be their problem with us doing that now, and rather than in December when, they have another?
My hesitation, David, is to make a commitment for any longer than what you would need.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, though, to ask them to amend the lease agreement so that we can unilaterally, with proper notice, get another 6 months, for example, at the same rate.
We can ask.
Because if it's December and we do it and they have somebody ready, then they'll make us pay that freight. But if we ask them now, maybe they'll be nice about it and let us have the 6 month option.
We can certainly ask, David.
Okay. Is that for you to do?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any more questions of Neil on the budget or
So who's,
My hand down.
lease?
yes. So who's responding then to Ms. Greenberg? You, Neil, or me, or both? of
Mayor,
us?
why don't you make that inquiry, and then I will reach out through my contacts and try to find out if they'll honor the monthly price for the period beyond the 6 month extension that we're asking for.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Any more questions by anybody?
Katrina?
I have one for Neil
Yeah.
about that. So Neil, when you ask your contacts about further honoring the same contract price for an extension beyond the 6 months, I would also want you to ask what would be a reasonable notice to give them, like should they know 2 months in advance? Because at that point, when we get to October, we should have a better idea of what's going on, for example.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
sure.
Anybody else with a question for Neil or Fernando? Because it's a lot of Netgear stuff that he ordered. No? Okay. Next item is the change order number 3 for bent plate removable. $2,647.32. And I sent out everybody the AIA and all the supporting documentation on it. And Katrina can speak to this issue.
Sure. So if anyone needs further explanation beyond the documents, it's really they did what we asked them to do. There was a difference between the structural drawings and the architectural drawings. And this will happen from time to time. Thankfully, it was not a huge deal to get this taken care of, and this was a very reasonable amount to take care of it.
So is there a motion to approve the change order?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any further discussion relating to change order number 3? Anyone? No, okay. David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Butch, yes. Mayor?
yes,
Chief?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And Jean?
Yes.
And Amy?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And so, Katrina, you'll be sending that over to the mayor to have her sign that, I'm assuming?
Well, I sent it over to Dave Goodsell. He has to sign that for DA Sullivan, and then the mayor would sign
Oh, and
that.
then it goes to the mayor, okay.
yeah,
Yes.
So should-
I have something in my inbox. I assume it's that one. I thought there's another one coming up pretty soon. Yes,
Well,
no?
if you check the one that you do have, see
Yeah.
that it has my signature and Dave Goodsell's signature. If it
Okay.
does, then it's ready for you.
Okay, I believe it does, so, but I'll double check.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Fire station equipment orders, learning system and networking gear, and I think Neil touched upon that already, but if anybody has any further questions on that, please speak up. Okay. Okay, update on the design. Team, the OPM, update on design and construction and progress and the schedule, and how are we doing, Katrina? in
I would
construction?
say, with the exception of the switchgear item that we've already discussed, the rest of the work is coming along very well. For those of you who are driving by every day, and you are, the slabs being poured in the Bay Area, that happened on Monday, right before our project progress meeting. So it was great to see all the machines out there. And they had a lot of people taking care of that work. The other part, the north part, I think that was being poured today. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the latest photos, but we could see that there was a concrete pump truck doing that.
It was
Okay.
poured today, Katrina.
Wonderful. So what that means is in about a week, in addition to any of the exterior gray block CMU work that they can do and not disturb the slab work, once the slabs are cured enough on the inside and the north portion of the building where it's more stud walls, you will start to see those stud walls pop up on the inside. They are working on getting the mock-up panel approved, and we have some comments that need to get out to DA Sullivan on that based on what we saw in the installation, so that then once they know exactly what we're looking for, they can start to get things on the main building set. This is one of the checks and balances we put into the project, is have that little mock-up wall with the masonry on there and flashing and other parts, so that once they get that right, then they know how to do the rest of the building. So we're in that process right now. And with the roofs on, I think the metal roofing is expected next week. I don't recall if it's next week or the week after that, but the roof membrane that goes on the low slope roofs, that's been installed, with the exception of the edges that will come soon enough. But the metal roofing that comes on the front of the building, that should be coming soon as well.
And how about the shingle part of the roof on the front?
Okay, that's where I was mentioning metal roof. The alternate that changed it from shingle to metal
Oh,
is
okay.
where is the front
Okay.
area.
Oh, perfect. All right.
I think the mayor has a question.
Yes, go ahead, Mayor.
I'm just really excited to hear that the metal roof is coming soon.
Yes.
I can't remember. Katrina, remind me of the color. Was it the gray or the green or the?
I think it's a gray.
Yeah,
My
I think-
recollection is something like slate gray. It's not very dark.
Yeah.
It's on the lighter side of gray,
Yeah,
but it will go
yeah.
well with, so their roofing will be that on the peaked roof in the front, and then our roof edges, downspouts, and other parts will be that color.
So this is slightly off the agenda, but it is talking about the roof. So there we go. Would we, and we can talk about this offline at some point, chairs and some folks. Would we consider, once the roof is up, doing a kind of, just in a way to update the community and get them have an opportunity to sort of see what's going on, a roof topping ceremony? Don't we do those with a little evergreen tree or something up above? Is that at all even possible, and is it advisable? Mostly, I guess I'm asking Katrina and Neil this question.
Neil, do you have any experience with a roof topping? I haven't
So
done one of those.
The
Must be a
tree,
southern thing, huh?
the tree is actually a an ironworkers ceremony for
Oh,
the final installation of the tallest steel member on a building. They
oh,
set the evergreen tree as a memorial to it. They do it on almost every job, and
oh, cool.
that is not unlike what we did for the beam raising ceremony when we set the beam with all of our names on it. But Mayor, if you want to have a party for roofing, we'll make a party for the roofing, whatever you
Sure.
want.
I will honor whatever the ironworkers feel is appropriate, and as long as we have, I don't know, more than an hour's notice, we can pull it together. I think the community would like it as an update in some fashion, so that'd be great.
Okay, I think what we can do is look closely at the schedule of what's coming up and the dates of when things are likely to be installed, because we don't know until the material actually shows up on site. But we'll coordinate with DA Sullivan and see if there's a way we can have a little something.
Okay, great to know.
Any more questions on Katrina or Neil? Katrina, I left on the social media package discussion because I don't know if you're still talking about it or still they want to do it, or.
I would say we still want to do it, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I did email just as we were getting into the meeting because I had some updates to it. And I defer to you whether you want me to read it out loud or if it's something that should go around to the committee just in print and everybody can have time to read it. And then if there's any comments or objections to what we do say, I would request that we get feedback within a few days, by early next week. And then our project media people can put that with a few photos and get that out on social media.
Yeah, how does that sound to everybody? You can send it to me and I'll send it out to everybody. And then they can respond back to you or me. If they respond to me, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think that would be preferable, is keep it channeled through you, Butch.
All right.
That sounds good. We do have a new communications director at the city. His name is Matt Conway. I'll see, Butch, that you get his email, or whenever you send that out, I'll forward it to him, and we can certainly do either a follow-up, or once Katrina tells us when we can, we'll share it out through our city social media as well.
Perfect. Any questions from anybody on that? Okay. How about the next meeting date of July 13th? I think that's Thursday, the second Thursday. How does that, I know July is a tough month because everybody's on vacation, but.
That happens to be seems like a fortuitous meeting. It happens to be the grand opening of the library. So
Oh.
later that day, no, it's very early in the morning. So it's not a conflict.
So
No.
won't be. All
No.
right. Everybody pretty good with that?
See,
All right, that'll be the date. Okay, there's no need for an executive session and motion for adjournment.
so moved.
Second,
I'll second it. And Chair Singer, can you stay on for a little while and talk about the next meeting we get involved in?
Sure.
all right. Okay, all in
An
favor?
hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
Okay, all in favor, David?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chief,
Aye.
Carol,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and Jim.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Good job, Butch.
Night.
Thank
Good to
I
see you.
know. Thanks a lot. A lot of
Alright.
good
Thanks.
news there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
David, I hope we can do a rain date.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
And David.